I literally went to Starbucks and Panera every day, put in the time to build this business. And then my parents were like, Josh, you got to get a job or you got to get out. And at the time I had probably less than $1,000 in my name. That was a pretty stern lesson of like, oh, I can't even afford to go rent something. Like I have to get a job and learn what I did wrong.
What were you doing at Fortune Builders originally? Like, how'd you, because it's typically sales or education. So how did you get in there? What made you choose Fortune Builders, I guess, in that type of career path?
Yeah, so I wasn't aware of many real estate investing education companies, but I chose that company because I found out about them. They had a good reputation, and it's either one of two ways to get access to those type of people and those type of materials. It's seek to serve or pay to play. Well, I didn't have the funds to pay to play and get access to those people and that level of education, so I went and took a job and worked for them. And while working for them, I sold the education. And during that time, what I really learned is a lot of people don't have the financial tools in place set for retirement, right? The 401k system, and a lot of those are not really good retirement vehicles. And most people don't see that until it's too late, when they're in their 60s and they don't have enough money. And so I was able to empower people with the knowledge, education, tools, and community to be able to learn a different path to basically empower them in their own financial journey and take control of that. And then in doing that and in seeing the results they were getting, it really gave me a lot of belief around the path that I was taking to learn this real estate investing journey.
Listeners need to understand it's important when Josh is speaking to have a piece of paper and a pencil. He is a quote book machine. So two of the things that I love, activity versus accomplishment, that's huge, man. We could spend an hour on that. And seek to serve or pay to play. One of the questions we'll ask later is, we won't get into it, but that's going to fit right into it, man. So it's great to hear you say that activity versus accomplishment thing, because so many people will say, I've been looking at real estate for over a year now. I haven't been able to do anything. It's like, well, what are you doing? Are you just staying busy listening to podcasts, or you get out there and knocking on some doors? Like, there's a difference.
Yeah, and some of those lessons, it's the hardest way to learn it, sometimes maybe the best one, because in that experience of 6 months of going, like I literally went to Starbucks and Panera every day, put in the time to build this business. And then my parents were like, Josh, you got to get a job or you got to get out. And at the time I had probably less than $1,000 in my name. That was a pretty stern lesson of like, oh, I can't even afford to go rent something. Like I have to get a job and learn what I did wrong.
Was there, your position at Fortune Builders, was that all commission based?
Yeah, so it was very largely commission based. And so with something like that, I'm very fortunate I was in that position, right? My first sales position, selling lawn care, we were like a small local company. So we were a lot more expensive. So I had to learn how to sell value, not price, because there's a lot of True Greens and Scotts that could come out and compete you. And then at Fortune Builders, the same thing. But I am very glad I had those sales positions, because the truth is, with a position like that, your level of work ethic is what you get paid on. And that's the truth with entrepreneurship as well. It's not like I had this salary and it's like, hey, some people try to put in the minimum just to be a body there. With a sales position, the top 15% probably make the top 80% of the money. And so I learned that the harder I worked, the better I got at my craft, the more financial reward I got. And that's a very good lesson.
What were some of those skills that you used to get to, because you got to the top, right? You were one of the top salespeople there, correct?
Correct. Well, I was very fortunate to have a very good environment with a lot of good salespeople around me. And when you have that position, if you can go ahead and get time and see what the most successful people are doing, then you can sort of rip off and duplicate that in your own world. And then on top of that, being able to read books and use your time, my nights and weekends, to learn those materials and practice it. Jim Rohn always says you'll rarely exceed your level of personal development. And so if you're working harder on yourself than you are on your job, you got to work hard at both, but you really are able to kind of rise to the top. And then it's things like listening to calls, right? A lot of people, after they get some level of results, stop doing the things that got them there in the first place. And then when they get kind of complacent, I believe that's when they stop growing. And I never stopped those activities, because I had always a next level of goals that I wanted to hit.